everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I always say it the other way around. That felt so weird. Today we are going to be doing a speed build again. I feel like I'm doing so many speed builds lately. The thing that I'm realizing with my speed builds is if I put them in my Origins Legacy episodes, the videos get insanely long. So I figured having them be separate episodes is honestly probably the best way to do it. Today I'm going to be showing you my build of the knitting hobby shop that I have built for Claire. I've made it like an extension of the house. They didn't have a ton of money and not as much as like Jamie had in my last build, but it was definitely still fun to do. If you are not caught up with my Origins Legacy challenge, I would recommend doing so. You can watch it starting with the first episode here. Otherwise, all you need to know about this build is that it's going to be a cozy little knitting shop. We are selling cross-stitch hoops and sculptures and charging a fee for customers to come in and knit and cross-stitch and browse and hang out, just a little community space. Please make sure to like the video if you like the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Sims content. And let's get into the speed build. This one is going to be a little bit shorter than the last one I did. It's not an entire house. I'm just building an extension to our current house. Here we are in Claire and Caitlin's house. If you've watched my Origins Legacy challenge, you recognize it. And I'm just going to start here. We've been using this kind of outside area as our selling area for our knitwear. Honestly, we haven't been selling any knitwear. We've just been mostly selling like cross-stitching hoops and wood sculptures made by Claire's wife, Caitlin. And we have also been charging customers a fee to sit and relax and knit and cross-stitch and build community in the space. So I am redoing this area to be an actual building, an actual extension of the building. I did use this photo for a little bit of inspo that I found online, but I quickly abandoned most of the inspo. It was kind of just the outside of the building. I wanted it to look like a little cafe kind of. Obviously, when you do these kinds of builds and I'm doing a historical legacy challenge, I do want to keep it as close to the times as possible. But the problem is that the knitting pack, the Nifty Knitting Pack in Sims, is a very modern looking pack. So I did try my best to balance it out a little bit. And I think the outside fits the world and fits Henford on Bagley and goes with the times. I do think the inside is a little more cutesy and modern than maybe it should be, but I hope that you don't mind. If we want to use the nifty knitting stuff for decorations, which we obviously do, we kind of have to do it this way. And obviously this store is gonna get even more filled as time goes on. I just want it to be jam-packed with potted plants and rugs and wall decor and just everything that Claire knits. I think that would be really fun. The picture I used had this bluish color for the outside, but I had just done a blue build when I did Jamie's house. So instead we ended up going with a little pink, and I did this planty area on top. Let me know what you think about it. Originally, I was gonna do a roof and then it was really weird and I just wanted to put plants on top. So I ended up adding a little, like the smallest half wall possible to the top and then just filling it with plants. And I think it looks really cute. About halfway through this, I realized that my money was running out really fast. So I actually did delete all of the plants and then start using debug plants instead, except for the wisteria that's around the border. That is the only plant that I paid for. And I did leave this part in just because I didn't want you to be confused. I did a few things like the wisteria and adding the green grass texture to the roof that I ended up keeping. And I didn't want to just jump cut to the end where I was using debug plants. When I first started doing this, I was doing it in fall because it is fall in our game right now. And the plants looked so ugly and the lighting was god awful. So I actually went to the main menu and changed it to build mode. And if you don't know this hack, I don't know a lot about The Sims, but I do know some things. And one of the things I know is that if you change it to build mode instead of live mode going into build mode, you can edit the house in the ideal season, like when everything is in full bloom. So you don't have to worry about weird lighting, or if it's like snowing in your game and you're trying to edit something, same thing. You can just go in and go to manage worlds and edit build mode straight from manage worlds, and then you'll be able to edit everything in like an ideal seasonless state. I did these little flower pots on the windows and the little overhang things that you always have at small businesses. And I think it looks really cute. I think it's a really cute extension. And don't worry, I do move the front door of the house. I just haven't gotten to that part yet. Because as of now, you cannot get into the house. Maybe it's a little unrealistic to have this many plants on the roof of the shop. Whatever, it's The Sims, right? And I finally got to use my overhanging plant that I wanted to use when I originally built this house and never got to. So yay, I actually used it twice. But yeah, this was nice to use debug for this. The rest of the build I did use real money, and they have a lot of money. And I actually was able to find more money later by deleting some lights and replacing them with different lights. But yeah, they make a lot now. Caitlin and Claire are making more than Kira and Saul with the farming. Their small business is bringing in a ton of money. The wood sculptures and the cross stitch hoops and everything. I can't wait until we can sell more of what Claire is crafting. But right now, selling Caitlin sculptures is really nice for business. And the fee that everyone pays to just hang out. I tried to do like this pink paint here and I didn't love it. It felt more like an interior paint. So I actually did replace it with a siding, like a pink siding. And I think that looks a lot better. Now that I'm looking at it, we also could have done brick, but their main house is brick. It's kind of a little more realistic. I know I just talked about the plants on the roof being super unrealistic, but what is realistic is that they would have siding on this addition instead of having brick continuing the whole thing, because brick would take longer to put up. I also just added a few more plants on the side here just to cover up the little half wall trim that was showing and kind of hide it a little bit. And then I had to redo the path, obviously, my little terrain tool path. So I replaced that and just kind of made it go all the way out. Long term, it could be fun to have a part of this be outside, but as it's fall and we are getting close to winter, I don't think it makes sense to do that now. Maybe a little bit later in the life of their business, they can have a little outdoor area. And then I just put back up all of our old little signage and plants and stuff that we had around the original entrance. And I think it looks so cute. These little cottage living signs are absolutely adorable, and I think it really adds to it. Let's get inside. So the first thing that I did is I popped down a giant ceiling light. This is the ceiling light that I've been using in all of my builds recently. When I started all of these old-fashioned houses, I had this little oil lamp that I kept putting in all of the rooms. This ceiling light is what I ended up replacing all of those little lanterns with, and it's actually got me like 1,000 simoleons. So later in the speed build, you will see I skipped the part where I went through and deleted all the lighting and replaced the lighting, because that's not what this build is about. But I did get like 1,000 more simoleons from it to work with and play with. So that was really nice. I think they would all kind of have more central lighting, more electricity in their houses now. You know, it's been a little bit. This is where I moved the door. I ended up putting it's kind of in a wacky spot, but there's not really another spot where it could go. It actually enters right into the greenhouse now. I might change this long term too. All of these Origins builds are super work in progress, change them as we play. The houses grow as the Sims grow. And honestly, that's something that I really like about it. But for now, the front entrance of the house is into the greenhouse. And so I just had to move around the plants and the woodworking table a little bit to make it more accessible. And then I decided to do a really fun, cutesy cottage living wallpaper in here. I think that would totally be their vibe and their aesthetic. I almost forgot the little kiosk out front, so I made sure to add that as well, because that's how they pay to get in and come and hang out and knit and cross stitch. And then I just started popping back in all of our stuff that we originally had. So our little shelves with the cross stitch hoops that we're selling that people can buy and then they can hang out and work on. The vibe I'm going with is, if you've ever been to those paint DIY ceramic stores where you can buy a little ceramic and then paint it and they'll kiln it for you and then you can come pick it up. That was kind of the vibe I was going for with this. Like, you can buy a cross stitch and then work on it there. And then I added down our other selling platform for our woodworking sculptures that we had, some other bits and bobs that I had in the inventory, and decided to look at the nifty knitting pack. I do have debug turned on, so a few of the things that were showing up were knittables that like we don't have yet. We haven't knitted yet. So I tried not to use any of those. I think I did end up using a rug, but I just kind of used some of the decorations, the wall decor and the furniture that comes with the pack. I got this cute little cart, this couch, and this armchair, and this little knitting like instructional guide that's open and on the floor. I thought that was really cute too. I did end up replacing this rug. I think it's so ugly. It's just not a cute rug. rug. So I did go more colorful in here. Again, I know we're trying to stick with the times, but this just a knitting store and using the Nifty Knitting Pack, you really need it to be all cute and colorful. I made sure that we hung back up our string lights that we had on the fence before. And yeah, I tried to use a lot from the Nifty Knitting Stuff Pack in here because I've never used that before. I actually downloaded the pack for this save, so I wanted to make sure that I put it to good use. Here I just kind of did some hodgepodge rugs around on the ground and added some of the other stuff from our inventory back into the space. And I'm kind of just adding it and just placing it down right now in random spots. I do edit the actual interior layout of this shop and hang space so many times. Like, I think I went back and edited where the shelves were a million times, but I put that giant thing that comes with knitting, the little pegboard up on the wall. Again, I know this is really modern, but it's so cute and I feel like I have to use it in a knitting shop. So I tried to hold off, but I really struggled. And then I went to put some curtains up and I realized that I was running out of money. So this is where off camera I went through and I did delete all of those, or most of the little oil lamps that we had throughout the house, and changed them out for big ceiling lamps. So now we were able to pop on some curtains. And yeah, this is such a colorful build. Just a fun little hang space for everybody in the town. Long term, I see maybe this having a little tea station where people can pour themselves a cup of tea while they hang out. Maybe we could have a little children's area, maybe with some of those craft tables. I also really want to get her into pottery, or maybe someone in her line gets into pottery. Like maybe when Laura's older, she gets into pottery and she inherits the store, or I don't know. I think that there could be so many fun little crafty hobbies that we can do in this space, and we don't have to stick to one thing. And I think that's kind of the fun of it. But for now, it is a knitting and cross stitch store where people can come and do knitting and cross stitch, and also things that Claire and Caitlin have created are available for purchase. I don't know how much of this I'm going to cut, but I basically reorganized the layout of this house so many times. And then I had this weird kind of enclave, what do I want to call it, this weird corner that was sticking out of the back of the shop, and I did not like what was going on here. It was really weird, and so I ended up just bringing the wall in one and getting rid of that. And then over in my greenhouse, I just randomly have like a little area. I guess I could put another pot with a plant in there in the greenhouse or something. This is where I moved the selling shelves over to be closer to the door. I think right when people walk in, it would be nice to have everything that they can purchase immediately. I will also forever be confused at how Sims lighting works. This room, this store, is the smallest store ever, and it has 4 different lighting fixtures in it, and it is still so dark. So I tried to brighten it up as much as I could. And I think I already mentioned this before, but as Claire gets more skilled with her knitting, it is a skill that kind of takes a long time to master. I do want her to decorate the walls and the floors and the shop and her own house with everything that she makes. I want her kids and her friends and everyone around town to be wearing stuff that she has knitted for them, and just really expand the world. And I think this is a really good place to start. So here is the build in all times of day. We've got morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And the little string lights above the top of the door, I think, look so cute at night and really illuminate the whole build. And the little flower pots, and I just think it's really cute and planty and cozy. I like to think that this is where you can grab your yarn and all the materials you need for your knitting and cross stitching. And there's a little sign with like prices on it. And then here's a little area where you can just sit and hang out and use our knitting and cross stitch stuff. We also have the wood sculptures, which I need to make one more of those to put on the stand by the door, and our cross stitch shelves where you can purchase your little cross stitch as well. And we're left with 3 simoleons. Well, I'm gonna make this outro quick because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm dripping in sweat. It's like so hot in here today, and I'm just a mess. I know this was a little bit of a shorter video today, but I really hope that you enjoyed it. I am trying to put out 2 videos a week now instead of 1. So I want to make sure that I'm still giving you content, even if it's not like an Origins episode every single time, because those ones take so long to record and edit. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get into Claire and Caitlin's house the next time we play. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to use this build the next time we play because we just rolled our dice of chance and landed on plague or illness. So our families will be quarantining, we can definitely do a lot of knitting and a lot of woodworking in anticipation for when our town opens up again. Let me know what other Sims builds you would like to see me do. I'm not like an amazing builder, but I do love building and these videos are pretty quick to make. So if you have any other ideas either for my Origins Legacy challenge of builds that you'd like me to make or just in general, leave them down below in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more Sims content. Watch my Origins Legacy challenge if you haven't already. Thank you so much for joining me again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.